All right, this next one is from, see, it says Neil Shinoy. All right, Neil Shinoy. All right, cool. How will the Steelers adjust with the loss of Zach Gentry and potentially being without McDonald, Vance McDonald? I was about to call him Zach McDonald. Without Vance McDonald.
What's going on with this? Because how long is Vance out for? Is it just COVID with him?
Yeah, he's COVID right now. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But it depends. I mean, because they haven't really talked about if he's having symptoms or not. If he's having symptoms, that could be a reason why it's elongated. I mean, because we've seen people come back, I think, within a week, I want to say, if I remember right. It's either a week or 10 days time frame for people that have had positive COVID tests. But like I said,
Cam only missed a week.
Yeah, but they haven't talked about if he's having symptoms or anything like that. So yeah, that's all going into that right there, man.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie, I had no clue we signed Zach Gentry. I saw him on the field like a week or two ago. Mm-hmm. When did we officially sign him? Do you remember this?
No, he was a draft pick. He was drafted, was that 2 years ago?
No, I know, but didn't we lose him? We lost Gentry.
No. We I thought we lost Jesse. Let me check.
No, we lost James, but like Gentry went to the Broncos. I think they cut him.
No, I thought that was the other one. I thought that was the one that came from Seattle.
Vanette.
Yeah,
you're
Vanette
right.
Was the one.
No, you're right. I'm getting them all mixed up here. You're right, 100%.
So yeah, Gentry, he's been on, man. He just doesn't play a lot because, I mean, what he brings to the table, you want him to either be a combat catch guy or a blocking guy right now, and he really hasn't emerged as either. So that's been the biggest reason why he hasn't been up there. And then when you bring in Ebron, then it really made it where they'll go with these two tight end sets, Ebron and Vance, and roll like that. But I mean, yesterday, probably midway through the second quarter, they were down to one tight end, and you can see, I mean, in terms of they still were able to run the ball, but the problem is this: when Ebron is the only tight end you're using, you're great from a passing standpoint. You saw, I mean, obviously the touchdown he had late in the game. The problem is when it comes to running the ball, he can't. In terms of him being the point of attack guy, it's not a good percentage of him making and sustaining the block. It's either he's gonna miss or he'll have initial contact that can't sustain the block. So trying to formulate the run around him can be a little bit difficult. So we saw even yesterday, even though, I mean, this was probably the best the Steelers have looked running the ball in the past couple of weeks. The thing still with that, when you watch some of these runs, is more James Conner making a guy miss and making something out of nothing than just across the board guys, winning their blocks and driving the guys off the ball. Like, it wasn't like that. But that's another thing. That's why we always say you got to watch the tape, because if you just read the stat sheet, it
running games back.
Like, man, it'd be like, yo, man, we're good. Over 100 yards rushing as a team. James got off like, man, we must have destroyed them up front. And when you really look at it, a couple of these runs, I mean, are just simply James making a guy miss, James reversing field. I mean, he looked like Reggie Bush one time. Like, where was this at, James? This was an awesome, pleasant surprise, and we'll get into that a lot more. But that's the issues that you run in when you're only going to have Ebron out there. So something that they did later on in the game, they brought in, I want to mess up his name.
It's cool. The standards are low. The standards are low. I thought Gentry was Vanette. Like it's.
I'm not gonna mess his name up. I'm gonna Google him right now so I can make sure I have his name the right way.
I'm telling you, there's no pressure.
Steelers roster, because I'm pulling his number up and his number's not even showing up right now. But he definitely got in yesterday, so I need to just make sure I say his name right.
You talking about the center? We put it fullback.
Yep. I want to make sure it's
JC. Is that his first name?
It's Hassener. That's what I was trying. I know it's JC's. Hassener. See, don't fire me for that. But that was some of the things that they did. So, and this was the thing. So they used him at fullback initially pre-snap, but then they shifted him to a pseudo tight end set. That's kind of what they were trying to do.
Like Banner last year.
Absolutely. So those are some of the things that they did. The problem is you can do that when it's goal line, because field's condensed. We're going to have big on big anyways. But you are limited. You can't do that out in the field, which is why you didn't see them try to utilize that. And then obviously you're hoping that Derek White can get healthy and you can get him back out there. That'll give you a little bit more flexibility as well.
He's hurt again.
He's been dealing with a hamstring, man, the past couple of weeks. Even when he came back versus Cincy, then he ended up going out early in that game and he still went down.
Yeah, you're right.
So that's the thing going on with him. So you're really limited just from a personnel standpoint right now. So that's why you saw them yesterday. I mean, it wasn't a lot of two tight end sets because they didn't even go with using I'm just calling him JC. I don't even want to butcher his name.
JC's easy.
They're not even using JC out in the field because it limits you as well. So that's another thing that they're going to have to figure out as it pertains to the run game. What can you do from a personnel standpoint to get you an extra tight end, tight body out there? If Derek White is healthy this week, for me, I'm doubting it because it's a short week. If this was a Sunday to Sunday, I feel a lot more confident. But if you were a scratch going, I think it was Friday, they had already said he was going to be out. I don't like the chance of you turning around and playing on Thursday if you weren't even questionable going into the game on Sunday. That's my whole thing with that, man.
Well, and that goes back to what we've talked about over the past 4 or 5 weeks of, all right, if we have Derek Watt in, though, that kind of takes away of maybe a more dynamic passing game, having like Ebron out there, an extra receiver. I don't know how much I like that, but if you're saying like this is our last ditch effort of trying to get this running game going, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, but it's one of them things right now, man. It's one of those things, and it's been a perfect storm for us. We've had these past couple of games. I mean, granted, this one has been the best look from a rushing standpoint. We still have flaws in it, but this was like the perfect window of these 3 teams that we had just played between
of
Dallas,
messing around with it a little bit,
and Cincinnati. Now this back 6 that we're about to go against, man. I mean, you're not really gonna see a lot more of those scenarios where we have on paper a clear-cut advantage. We're gonna have to figure out a way to address some of those things, man. And I think we will, but it's gonna take some extra work, man, especially on a short week. That's the thing too that sucks. That Sunday to Thursday game, man, you don't really have a lot of time to get creative. You gotta, essentially go with what you have, get the guys healthy is the biggest part, and then just go out there and just try to find a way, man.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And that was one of the things that I took away at the end of this game. I'm just happy we're all healthy for the most part. I mean, Joe Hayden obviously had that injury. It was looking bad, but looking like he's good now.
After the game, Joe and Juju both said, with Juju, he said, the coach said that he could have came back in because of the score. They didn't want to push it, which is good.
That flag there.
It was crazy, right? Unreal. And then with Joe said it was more scary than actual like injury, so even with him, and we're anticipating him. But Justin Lane came in and played really well, man. He stood up, in the words of Coach Tomlin, like a big dog out there on the edge, man, playing that corner spot. I thought he looked really well out there, man. Was competitive, challenged guys. And overall, just like he knew what he was supposed to do, which is key because we've talked about in the secondary this year, some of the miscommunication that has happened, man. They didn't have that at all. Not that I saw yesterday. I'm going to look at it again. But from everything I saw, it looked clean on the back end, which was the best part about it, because we said, man, that's been the Achilles heel of this defense. As great as they've been at times, they've allowed chunk plays due to miscommunication. So the fact that they were able to minimize that yesterday was huge, man.
For sure.
Absolutely. So shout out to Neil for that question, man. This segment is brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook and app. And it's number one because not only is it safe, but it's secure, and our favorite thing, it's reliable. And for all the first-time users out there, we got a nice little gift for them, right? I mean, because who doesn't like free stuff, right? You like free, right?
It's nice, yes.
It's like a little icing on top of your cake. So with that being said, all the first-time users out there, if you download the app and use the promo code MOATS, that's MOATS, you will receive up to $1,000 in deposit bonus money. I mean, $1,000 in deposit bonus. Deposit bonus money. That sounds like a good thing, right?
That's a decent chunk of change right there.
I would assume that people would like that, right? I mean, it's the holiday season. We're giving back. So, download the app, use the promo code, use that gift that we're giving you, and let's get an opportunity to get some money, because that's all we want is opportunity, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And with DraftKings, your opportunity is always good, baby.